When she said those words, they sliced through the quiet of our living room sharper than any argument ever had. I want you to leave me alone. No shouting, no tears, just a cold, tired tone, like she'd rehearsed it. I stood there, half expecting her to smirk, to say she didn't mean it. But Olivia didn't. She just turned away, eyes fixed on her phone, scrolling through nothing. For years, I'd been the one chasing, planning dinners, making gestures, trying to pull her out of that growing distance. Every time I asked for closeness, it felt like begging for attention from someone already halfway out the door. That night, something inside me didn't break. It froze. So I said nothing. I just nodded, picked up my jacket, and walked out. The next week felt strange. Too quiet, too empty. Our home, once loud with laughter and late-night TV shows, turned into a silent museum of memories. I cooked for one. I slept on my side of the bed, though the sheets still carried her scent. Every morning, I checked my phone, half expecting a message. Nothing. It wasn't that I needed her. Not anymore. I just wanted to know if the years we'd shared meant anything to her. By the fourth day, I stopped hoping. I buried myself in work, stayed late at the office, and avoided going home until I couldn't keep my eyes open. Then came Friday night. I was driving back from work when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. Normally, I would have ignored it, but something made me pick up. Ryan. A woman's voice. Not Olivia's. Yes, who's this? It's Megan. I don't know if you remember me. I'm Olivia's coworker. My grip on the steering wheel tightened. Yeah, I remember. Is she okay? There was a pause on the line. A kind of silence that carried weight. She's fine, Megan said slowly. I just thought. You should know she's been coming to work looking like she hasn't slept in days. And today she cried in the break room. Said she made a mistake. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to feel pity. Another part wanted to feel nothing at all. Thanks for letting me know, I said quietly and ended the call. That night, I sat on the couch, staring at the same spot where she'd said those words. Leave me alone. And for the first time, I realized I actually had. But life has a strange sense of timing. Because just when I started accepting her absence, she showed up again. It was Sunday afternoon. The sound of a car door outside. I looked through the blinds, her car, the same white sedan, parked crookedly in the driveway. When she walked up to the door, she didn't look like the Olivia I knew. Her hair was messy, her eyes red. She stood there, hesitant, like a stranger rehearsing a scene she wasn't ready to perform. I opened the door before she could knock. She looked up at me, lips trembling. Ryan, she said softly, can we talk? I wanted to say no. I wanted to ask her why she cared now, a week too late, but something in her voice stopped me. Come in, I said. She stepped inside, glancing around the room like she was searching for something. Maybe her old self, maybe us. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she said, I didn't mean it, what I said. I crossed my arms. Then why did you? Her voice cracked. Because I was angry at myself, not you. I didn't respond. Because I knew, deep down, this wasn't just about anger. Something else had changed that week, and I was about to find out exactly what. Olivia sat down on the couch, clutching her hands like she was holding on to a secret she couldn't contain much longer. The silence between us was thick, heavy enough to drown in. Finally, she looked up, her eyes glassy. I met someone, she said. It wasn't shouted or dramatic. Just 3 simple words that somehow shattered the calm I had built all week. I didn't react. I didn't yell. My pulse barely changed. I just listened. When? I asked quietly. She hesitated, then whispered, a few months ago. It wasn't serious. I thought I needed space, and he was just there. Space. That word again. The same excuse people use when they've already stepped out the door but haven't yet admitted it. So why are you here, Olivia? I asked. She stared at the floor. Because he doesn't love me. Not really. And I realized the person who did, the one who tried. I pushed away. Her voice trembled, but my heart stayed still. I wanted to feel anger, but all I felt was clarity. I gave you everything, I said softly. My time, my patience, my loyalty. And you traded it for attention from someone who didn't care enough to stay. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I made a mistake. No, I said, standing up. You made a choice. She covered her face with her hands, sobbing quietly. And as I looked at her, the woman who had once been my world, I realized something. I wasn't broken anymore, just done. I didn't come here to beg, she said, her voice muffled. I came because I wanted to tell you before you heard it from someone else. I let out a breath. And what do you want me to do with that, Olivia? Forgive you? Start over? She shook her head. No. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I watched her stand up slowly, her shoulders slumped, the weight of regret hanging off her like a shadow. For the first time in years, she looked small. Not weak, just lost. She turned toward the door, but before she could leave, I said, Olivia. She paused. I did leave you alone, I said. And you found out what that really feels like. Her eyes met mine. No anger, no excuses, just quiet understanding. Then she nodded and walked out. When the door closed, I didn't collapse or cry. I just stood there, listening to the fading sound of her car pulling away, realizing the chapter had finally ended. The next few days were peaceful in a strange way. The kind of peace that doesn't come from getting what you want but from losing what was already gone long before you noticed. I started running again, something I'd stopped doing years ago because Olivia hated mornings. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. I stopped waiting for texts that would never come. And then, a week later, I received a message. It was from Megan, the coworker who'd called me before. Thought you should know, she wrote. Olivia put in her resignation. Said she's leaving town for a while. I stared at the message for a long moment, then simply replied, I hope she finds peace, because truthfully I already had. That night, I sat on the porch, the same one where we used to drink coffee on lazy Sundays. The air was cool, the sky a soft gray. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for anyone to join me. I thought about her words, leave me alone, and realized how ironic they'd been. Sometimes, people don't understand the value of being seen until they vanish from someone's life completely. Olivia wanted space, and I gave it to her, so much that she could finally see the emptiness she'd created. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry, just free. I took a sip of my coffee, looked out into the quiet evening, and smiled faintly. She'd said, leave me alone, and I finally did. Not out of resentment, but because peace doesn't always come with someone's return. Sometimes it begins with their absence.